Hello. Uh, there we go. So the first thing we see before we do any introductions or begin our evening proper is we see a woman in a white gown out of the 1950s with a large church hat sat across a silhouetted figure over what looks like a sort of ramshackle desk with all sorts of bits and bobs and pieces of paper across it. And the woman says excitedly, large, wide smile beaming across the face, stars sparkling in the left glass eye. And she says, well, it would only be temporary. And besides, touching the production world is something I get to do so infrequently. And you know I'm one of your favorites. So, a deal? And you see a gloved hand extend across the table and shake hers. And she says, fantastic. Let's get this finale underway, shall we? Her eyes go shock white. Wind and electricity begins to crackle through the air. And suddenly, she is no more. Or is she? Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone who finds himself across the wonderful rainbow of gender spectrum, my name is Ophelia, and welcome to the series finale of 13 Hours. I have with me a cast of people I recognize that look so different somehow. Hopefully, they'll be able to introduce themselves with ease so we can get the show on the road. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this up, at the very least. How about we begin our evening by welcoming our kindred? Let's start with Nikki.
There we go. All right. Hey, I'm Nikki. I, believe it or not, am the producer here at this channel. And I am playing Eden Shepherd, who is our Toreador.
Wonderful. And next, I believe they're playing sisters this evening. Christina.
Hello, I'm Christina, and I'm going to be playing Lazarus, our Nosferatu.
Wonderful. And then we have the lovely Jay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jay. I use they, them, and tonight I'm playing the Ventru Primogen Serana Kwan.
Fantastic. And below them on your screen, we have the ever mysterious Cameron.
Good evening. My name is Cameron. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Aquinas, the Simish.
Fantastic. And last but never least, our resident arcane goth.
Hello, I'm Max. I use he, they pronouns, and I play Bo, who is our Bruja and uses he, him pronouns.
Oh, splendid. Well, I suppose we can begin now. So, last we left off, I heard that a couple of kindred had just recently made their way through a particular storehouse to save a particular odd couple of people. You all were told that Charlotte had information on where you could find a mage, a particular mage, an address specifically, which she shared with you all with no problem, which posed quite a interesting situation to Serana, who had difficulty getting the information out of Charlotte previously. And with that, the stage is set and the floor is yours, actors. Please. Go on.
So just to clarify, we're still in the warehouse, and
I don't
Charlotte
believe
revealed...
you had exited yet, yes, but you do have the address. And you can leave at your leisure if you'd like to.
Serana, I think there's still a good number of things that we can share with each other for mutual understanding.
What do you mean?
You intoned that there may be a few things that you know that we don't.
Did I?
I remember it being so.
Perhaps. And I'm gonna go at Charlotte and Nick. How are they doing?
They seem to be doing relatively fine. Young Nick is coming out of his stupor after having had his arm amputated and subsequently treated by Aquinas.
Mm.
Charlotte seems a bit exhausted, but otherwise as good as she normally is.
I'm going to look to Namari and say, Miss Sloan, we need to acquire a vessel for Nick to feed, to heal him a little bit, to aid in that process. Then we should bring them back to the office to keep them under our watch and make sure no one else tries to kill them.
Nimari nods and she begins to flip through a phone that she keeps on her and says, "Shall I try and crush two birds with one stone? Should the food be the bodyguards so they
Whatever
can
you
take them
deem
back?"
necessary, and I trust that you will get this done.
Of course. And she begins to tap away on the phone.
Cool. I'm going to look back at Aquinas and say, I reckon that the mortal police may be arriving here some point soon, given that what just occurred here was perhaps, shall I say, a little bit of a scene. And I don't want to be here when they get here. I will be taking Nick and Charlotte back to my office, and perhaps I can meet you at the address that they've provided to meet this mage, this person.
I think that would be amenable to everyone.
I'm all right with that, as long as you give us your word. And he puts his hand out for you to shake.
Serana just like looks down at it and looks back up at you and says, what exactly are you asking of from me?
Your guarantee that you'll actually meet us where we're supposed to meet.
What makes you think that I won't?
I don't know you, Miss Kwan. Mix Kwan? Consider it for my peace of mind.
Primogen Kwan will suffice.
My apologies.
And I will shake your hand. It's a very curt handshake.
As long as it happens, he's fine.
And I will just look over to Aquinas and give you a polite but still very curt nod, and I will turn away from you as if I'm just dismissing you, as if this was a meeting that I called and you are now dismissed.
Wonderful. Well, if no one has any business, I would assume that the two parties split their ways.
As we go, I'm going to give Namari a death glare and just be like, don't shoot at my bird ever again. Just in passing.
Uh,
Eden,
And
Eden
as you
shares
go
the
by-
death glare as she walks by.
I don't know how familiar I would be with Nick and Charlotte. But if one of you who is, if I could tap you and ask you to get them to like do like the share a phone location thing with one of us to make sure that things continue to go as planned, I would appreciate that.
Eden can do that.
Yeah.
Charlotte acquiesces without much fuss. She realizes she's in a very vulnerable state at the moment and doesn't really have any bargaining chips. So
That's
you
all.
set off.
I think also the business card that Namari handed you for me has the address of this office on it.
Fantastic. So you all are given an address to a moderately nice home over in Lincoln Heights in Detroit. And you can make your way there at your earliest convenience. Or you could do something else at the moment if you would like to.
What time is
Up
it at
to
this
you.
point?
It is currently in the 10 o'clock squadron. I believe the 10 o'clock time was 10:15, if we remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 sets of cufflinks.
2 sets currently, yeah.
And a kid in a storm drain.
Oh, we gotta get the kid.
We got it. Well, either get the kid or kill Lyman. I'm partial to kill Lyman, but
Shocker.
I'm afraid to kill the kid because I think, I don't know, like if it's like a movie, then like we break space time.
What?
Well, the kid is Artreus. So if we kill him, then what happens?
True.
I thought we had
No.
already agreed that we aren't killing children.
I believe we did.
So, Lyman.
Yeah, the option was to kill Lyman, not kill the kid. But I would like to retrieve him if he's around.
From personal experience with the prince, as easy it is for his schedules to be understood, pinning him down is a bit more of a difficult endeavor. I would advise we retrieve the child and visit with this magi so that we can gain an ally of our enemy's ally.
Well, and while we're at it, we can pick up that other pair of cufflinks in the audio booth as well.
Precisely.
All right.
Great. Sounds good. Let's go.
To the child.
To the Jeep.
All right. You all pile into your car and make your way to the baseball stadium. As you approach, you see that there is a familiar person, a woman, in fact, that is particularly familiar to Bo, that is sat outside of the baseball stadium talking to a small child.
Who is it?
It is Kirla Edwards.
Why is she talking to the
Fancy,
kid?
I see. I'll let me handle this. I at least know from past experience that she lacks me a little.
No, you're gonna go co-parent?
Absolutely not.
Gonna raise a Guru
come
child
on.
together.
Woo? Or should I say Ugru?
I don't know what to say to you, Jay.
I mean, in all
Um,
honesty, I was expecting it all to be a little ridiculous, but I'm having so much fun right now.
so she's just like outside talking to him.
Yes, just crouched on the street speaking to him.
Kirilla, I had no idea we were meeting so soon.
She looks up at you and says, well, if it makes you feel better, we probably wouldn't have been, but Ophelia called in a couple of favors with me and told me to get here and I'd find a kid, and I found a kid, and I'm supposed to give you this. It was in these young upstarts nightclub that she took care of for me.
Oh, yeah, the shake and bake 'em, whatnot, BS.
I didn't know you were so familiar with the nightclub scene in Detroit. Look at you.
That place was gonna go downhill anyway. And he takes the envelope or whatever it is that I presume contains the cufflinks. Okay. I will pocket them. And how are you? He'll crouch a little to address Artie. You doing okay, kiddo?
Yeah. I'm just kind of hanging out. This nice lady that's really pretty gave me a couple of steaks. So, and you see he's kind of he's sort of chewing on these large hunks of meat.
Yeah, she is really pretty, ain't she?
Mhm.
Well, I think maybe you don't want to be out here so late at night. You don't want anybody wandering around or whatnot. Maybe we can take you somewhere to hang out.
I mean, I guess.
Eden's gonna walk up
Are
at that
you?
point
Yeah,
and
help
engage
me, please.
awe. Yeah, Eden's gonna come up and engage awe and just like, hey, Artie, do you want to see my guitar?
You have a guitar?
Yes.
Yeah. Where is it?
It's in the Jeep. So you have to come with us to see it.
Okay. And he begins to run towards the Jeep proper, but he turns and
Walking
waves
feet,
to
Eden says.
He turns and waves to Keela. Says, "Bye, pretty lady. I'm going with the other pretty lady." And Keela looks you up and down and seems rather unhappy.
I'm sorry, did you want the child for some reason?
No, I'm just reminded of the people who share my clan name.
What clan is she in?
All right.
Do I know what clan is she in?
She's Toreador.
Eden, would you mind just make sure that the kid puts his seatbelt on, and I will be right with you in a few minutes. All right?
Right. And Eden's gonna walk away because she don't have time for this nonsense.
Oh boy. If Bo still had a heart rate, there are no consequences, are there? Can I tell you something crazy, Kayla?
Sure.
Do you believe me if I said that we did this all yesterday?
Define all this.
I woke up yesterday morning and it was the 9th, and I woke up the 9th, and I woke up this morning and it was the 9th again.
In that case, no. I don't think I would believe you.
We talked, and that's you told me about this mage sort of artisan that you had the card of, and you grabbed it for me, and their name was missing. So if you have that on you, if you wouldn't mind pulling it out, but if you don't, just you can resign it to a Bruja being a little stupid, and we can call it a day.
There's a second where she hesitates, and then she digs around in her pocket and says, "I hate people who can see the future." And she extends out a card to you, but almost looks as though she does not want to touch your hand any longer.
That's all right. I don't even need her to hand it to me. I just need to look at it long enough to get the name on it if it's still there.
Yes, the card has an additional address, which is the one you are currently headed to. And the name on it says the question circle.
Okay. All right.
That like a legally distinct Riddler.
Legally distinct is a strong word for it.
I appreciate the cooperation. I promise you I can't see the future. You're not gonna believe me, I'm sure, but
I
you
more
won't.
meant Ophelia.
Oh, yeah, she said something about 5 lights, and I can get into this with you later, but we're on a schedule. And nice to see you, darling. And I will snap a picture of the card and go back to the car.
And Kirilla will just sort of look you up and down as you walk away, and then shake her head exhaustedly and make her way back to her own car, which she, of course, is not driving. You all are back in the Jeep with the little Guru child in tow.
I'm gonna give him. There's like a half done like book of crossword puzzles in my glove compartment, and I'm gonna give it to him with like the one pen that's like in like the cup holders in the front, in an attempt to keep him occupied.
All right. He takes that notebook out of your hands and sort of looks it over back to front and starts scribbling in it, just starts to draw on some of the more blank pages.
That's fine.
To the Magi, then.
On we go. Apparently they're called the question circle. That's what I couldn't figure out last night.
Odd name.
Very good.
Reminds me of the vulture, yeah, like it'll be a bunch of people instead of just one.
Usually a circle
So-
has more than one person in it, at least.
Well,
Unless
we'll
that
have
person has been
backup.
split into a circle.
I drive us there.
What? Aquinas, I'm gonna recommend that you don't say weird shit in front of the kid.
Duly noted.
So, you all make your way to the appointed address. As I mentioned, it's in Lincoln Heights, easy enough to get to. A bit quiet at this point in time in the evening, and you arrive to a modest two-story house with no car parked out front. How would you proceed?
Should I go knock?
Well, let me take a little perimeter check here. And are we waiting for our friend?
Yeah, that's a wise idea.
Let me I'm gonna pull up my phone and just kind of ping for alarms or
Sure.
anything
Make
like
me
that.
an intelligence plus technology roll. Ooh, I'm usually on the other side of these. I don't get to determine the roles very often. This is fun. Is everyone having a good time so far?
This is so meta. I love it.
Oh, just you wait, darling. Speaking of which, let's check in on Serana. How is the Primogen doing?
I am in my very comfortable car, which has a make and model that you said last time that I don't remember.
Certainly.
And I just have a question for you.
Hmm.
What I just like out of character, remind me what Ophelia told me originally,
Ah,
because I know she
yes.
offered me help.
Right. So essentially, when I called you, I said that I could extend help your way if you ever needed help navigating these complicated waters. I didn't give an explicit thing that I would do. I just said that I would assist you should you need my help. So
Gotcha.
granted, that may be a little difficult now, given the whole I'm a bit indisposed, darling.
I see. Okay, cool. So yes, I'm in the car and I am having Namari well, she's driving actually, but actually yeah, she's driving. So I will be using my phone to call up just some associates I have in this city. Basically bodyguards who will meet me at my office to watch over Nick and Charlotte so that I can leave with Namari to go meet
Right.
them.
Yes, of course. And so this is happening at around the same time that they would be picking up our trace and all of that. I would say when you go into your office, that you are given a message from the receptionist that said, pardon me, you're given a message that says, follow the white rabbit, but don't chase too quickly.
There have been a bunch of goddamn Alice in Wonderland stuff in this tree.
I know,
If no one
there's
else
such a
has caught it yet.
motif to it. It's so interesting. It's like
It's
someone's
giving
writing
City
this.
of Mist.
Indeed.
I look at the receptionist. Is this like a ghoul or a mortal?
Well, she's your receptionist. Would you condone a mortal working at the front door of your building?
Probably not. Yeah, okay. Um then I'll just look at them and just say, who's this from?
As you take a closer look at them, you recognize a familiar gleam in their eyes. This ghoul is charmed.
Great. Cool. Love that. I can I use one of my disciplines to try to figure out what is going on? Is that
Which
something I can do?
discipline?
Um, my book is over there.
Well, there should be three or so that you have
Yeah, so
access
I
to.
have
As Mhm.
I have compel and mesmerize, and then the third one I don't think is relevant because that one is
So
me giving orders to somebody.
So I would say that knowing and understanding the compelled discipline, that is why you know implicitly that this person is under a charm. There's not necessarily a counter charm so much, so as this person is charmed, and you see that now that they have delivered the message, they appear to be coming out of it or in the process of doing so. But you know from your own use and expertise with such a discipline that they likely will not remember most things of note. It's part of the covering your tracks, as Kindred like to do.
Typical. Um, Sarana is going to just sigh and look at them and just say, you don't happen to remember who did this to you, do you?
You know what? Let's make it a roll. I want to roll some dice. Mm. She blinks a couple of times, obviously confused, and says, um, I'm sorry, miss. I don't really remember. It's hazy, but perhaps at some point I will, but I just remember getting here this morning.
Okay. I audibly sigh so that she knows I'm displeased, and I will walk in.
And she sits down, very visibly debuffed. Um, Going into your office and situating Nick and Charlotte is easy enough. There's nothing out of place that would be in your office, nothing that shouldn't be there. If there's anything else you'd like to do here, let me know.
Yeah, I think I just set them up inside the office itself. The couches are there. I have snacks, drinks, etc. Um, around this time, do I have the bodyguards? Do they show up?
Yes, they beat you there.
Awesome. Then I will get one of them to Nick so that he can feed. And after that's all set and they're all set up, and basically I dole out the orders of you just like keep them here, don't let them leave, and don't let anyone else in here unless they have permission from me to be in here. And after they're all set up, I'm just gonna take Namari with me. We're gonna go back down to the car and we're gonna head to the address that was given.
Your Primogen, uh, would you like me to get us there quickly or abiding by the laws?
Was that Namari talking? Ah. Sarana just looks at her and says, drive as fast as you can, safely.
You,
Don't wish to die in a car crash, Miss Sloan.
I believe we've already passed your expiration date, if you'll forgive the joke. But you should probably buckle up.
She gets a little snort out of me.
And you are glad you fastened your seatbelts because you start flying down the road. And eventually, you all at the modest house within Lincoln Heights, Lazarus, darling, as you're going through and doing your tech sweep, you hear a car screeching toward the home that you are all gathered outside of
That is not subtle.
in the slightest.
Well,
When has a primogen ever been subtle?
Suppose I'll go meet them. Hello.
You can.
I could go knock on the door.
Looks fine. Nothing came up on the sweep, right?
Cool. All right. I'm gonna go and ring the doorbell.
Yeah, nothing came up on sweep. You look pretty clear. Looking, you go up and ring the doorbell. As that is happening, is someone approaching the car with the primogen?
Yeah, I was.
Lazarus is approaching the car. Namari will look to the back and she will say, "Shall I keep the car running, primogen?"
No. I would like you to come with me.
As you say. And she turns the key, steps out, and she lets you out of the car as well as Lazarus approaches.
Primogen. Thank you for joining us.
Lazarus, wasn't it?
Yes. Thanks for joining us. We're just knocking on the door.
Is anyone home? And I'll just follow you back to the group.
And it is around this time, Eden, that you hear a voice from behind the door say, "Just a second."
She just sighs and waits.
After a bit of waiting, you see the door opens to reveal a black person in this sort of not really tie-dye, but sort of galaxy-esque hoodie dress and these circle-frimmed glasses, hair done up in braids with black gloves on. And they answer the door and say, "Eden, right?"
Right. Do I get the sense that I should have awe or daunt on right now?
I would say you can make a wits plus insight roll. Immediately, it's easy to tell that this person is kind. But
Okay.
there's something else in their blood as well.
Ooh. 2, 4, 5 successes.
Wonderful. I would say with 5 successes that you could have either on and see what happens. There's one is not better than the other, to be specific.
She'll start with awe then, and see if we need to use daunt.
Right.
So when she hears her name, she says, "Yes, and you must be the question circle."
You see the wash of your awe alight this person's face for a second, and they say, "No. The question circle is the name of like the building, but also like my company kind of thing. It's complicated. I'm D." And they will extend a hand.
It's nice to meet you, D. Very sus. Can we come in?
Yes, yes, please.
Laz?
I'm right behind you.
Cool. All right. Let's go.
What's with your
Does
face?
anyone not enter the room?
What should we do with the kid?
Bring the kid in.
Oh, the child is with me.
I am not leaving the
Oh,
child
hell
alone with
no.
you.
Terrifying.
Artie, come meet my friend
The
D.
rest of you left him in the car. What do you
I never
expect
said
me
that
to
I
do?
got out of the car, so I was gonna try to figure out what I was doing, but I guess I'll just bring him in with us.
Eden calls out, Artie, come meet my new friend D.
Okay.
Problem solved. Do you have snacks? The kid could probably use some snacks.
I need to go grocery shopping, but there's like pretzels and peanut butter somewhere around here.
Kids love peanut butter.
Is this a mortal or is
Yeah, D said come.
They certainly smell
You did say
kind, but there's also something. There's another smell to them as well.
It's not Guru.
Not Guru, no. As you all walk in, go ahead.
I was gonna say, considering that this is someone that Kirla had sought out for some kind of magic service, my best guess would be that it's a mage or maybe a changeling.
Yeah, Ryan's also in this chat. I've been made aware. It doesn't exactly smell like a changeling or anything like that in particular. But it's more so it's a smell you don't recognize, which is odd in and of itself.
Okay.
Is there anyone else here?
As you walk in, you don't hear any other heartbeats, or smell any other kine nor Gru. You can do a more thorough search, but there's not really much of a place for Kindred to be hiding at the moment. This is a very simple interior. There's a couch in the center, an old bit of furniture that is covered in what look like folded clothes and things like that. And D sits down in a chair and says, "So, hi. You all are here for a number of reasons, right? If I'm understanding correctly."
Yeah.
Well, why don't I let you all explain? What do you need from me?
You're a mage.
Yes. Pretty accomplished one.
You are assisting Lyman Baxter?
I was, yes.
Was?
Our contract was completed. He retained his memories from the old world.
Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. So, in the year, goodness, time is so weird here. A couple years ago, there were some events in a Detroit like ours, but not ours. There was a little Artreus that was a half-blood between Guru and Kindred. There was a missing mother. There were people I'm sure you've met. Kirla was there, etc., etc. I'm sure you're all used to repeating reoccurrences. Well, the culmination of that whole situation was a man named Hypnos trying to do what Lyman is trying to do now. But Hypnos, being a antediluvian, he was the god of sleep, right? You all know Hypnos, Greek mythology. You know the idea, right? So the plane of dreaming, a lot of people call it the Fade, is a place that he couldn't destroy. It was his home. He was made of dreams. So to destroy it would have meant to destroy himself. So it stuck around. Lyman kept a close eye on the coterie that stopped Hypnos, and he made a request of me to keep his memories stored in the Fade, in his unconscious body. So, since that wasn't destroyed when this world was remade and eventually Lyman's soul was remade, his dreams started coming to him like visions almost. His memories slowly returned to him, and he took advantage of it, being the oily bastard that Lyman Baxter is. He's been using it to put himself in strategic places to take advantage of knowledge that no one else could possibly have. In the old world, he was just the Nosferatu primogen. He wasn't a prince of any kind anywhere, here or in Miami. But here, he's changed things. And it's getting to a point. It was cute at first. It was very interesting watching all the different places he could slot in completely logically with what he knew. But he's kind of fucking with my plans at this point. So
You talked about it like it was a request that you just did out of the good of your heart. Did he pay
oh God,
you?
no. Oh yeah, he paid me quite a handsome fee. A long-term planner, Lyman tends to be, and I was in need of uh, uh, a willing participant who could be present longer than I could.
And what are your plans exactly?
Telling stories. That's kind of the whole goal here, is to create interesting scenarios where the heroes are, down 3 going into the 9th inning and seeing how they can pull out in the end.
So, what about
Under-
a story of a group that aren't heroes?
Well, those are just interesting people to follow. You all, when Artreus met you all, I assume that he explained the symbols, right? That you all have.
Yeah.
In the
Like,
pattern. Yeah.
The pattern's a part of it, but like Eden, you're the rival. Bo, you're the void, etc., etc.
No, he didn't. He only mentioned the names.
Oh, okay. Well, he and you see they look down at a small device on their wrist and say, "Okay." Um, Basically, back when the world was originally formed, there was a thing called the weave, which held magic. Magic was the material through which the world was built. There was a sister to the weave that was called the pattern. The pattern is set to be a set of instructions by which the weave creates things. In order to tell my stories, I will assign certain souls certain signs.
Wait,
Because I can't
you
have-
will assign it?
Well, a D12 technically. It's not officially me, but like I wrote the table and all of that
Like
stuff.
the band that Eminem was in?
That's actually hilarious because I didn't think that you would specifically know that group, but yeah, kind of. I'm more meant like a polyhedral, like a die.
I've lived here for, so of course I know who they are, but
Mhm.
go on, I guess. I ain't never
It's
seen a
from the-
12-sided die.
It's from a satanic game.
Oh,
Right.
I we talked about that.
This is starting to give me a headache.
We
Yeah.
aren't alive to you
No,
necessarily.
you're alive in a different way.
Yes.
You are brought to life. You are given life by your own
Other
machinations.
people.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you want us to win?
I always want the heroes to win.
So we're the heroes to you.
In this situation, I mean, it's your Lyman and
Fuck Lyman.
Fuck Lyman,
Fuck
right?
Lyman. He ain't
But-
pretty enough to be a prince anywhere.
But to wrap up the explanation, the reason that you all are assigned these symbols is because I can't have everybody can't be a main character, right? You have to have some side characters and some NPCs that are there to, you know, either provide help or provide conflict or whatever to make a good story. So I will assign certain people their souls these symbols, and then when they pop up, they're the heroes.
I might regret asking this, but I feel that if I don't. So, how does God figure into all of this?
There ain't nobody up there, Eden. Come on.
Well, so you remember that coterie that I mentioned? They were tasked with making a new world after Hypnos destroyed the old one. And a long time ago, in the age of swords and sorcery, those gods did walk the earth with mortal beings, but divine and infinite power corrupts infinitely. They couldn't let the world take the natural shape that it would have taken if they were constantly there overseeing and moving chess pieces and things like that. So they created this thing called the Divine Gate, which they locked themselves behind. Now, Artreus is different. Two of them are different. Artreus is the first. Artreus is half kindred, half Guru, and eventually becomes half Fae through machinations, and also becomes half human. And I know you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of halves. Like halves don't really work like that. But that's the weird part. Artreus sort of took on a life of his own.
More than one soul? To
Yeah.
have 4 halves? Does he
Yeah.
have a fancy little word in your weavings?
I've just taken to calling him the one above all. He's
You said 2. Who's the other?
they say the path to hell is paved with the best intentions, right? I struggle with depression and anxiety. I kind of always have. But there's always been this shadow that followed me around that sort of took hold of certain things. Most people have taken to calling it Charlie at this point. And he is the closest thing to the devil that there ever would be. But that's a matter for another day. I'll get around to dealing with Charlie at some point. Um, but yes. So that's all. That's everything I got. I promise. I'm not throwing any more information at you unless you want to hear it. So what would you like me to do?
I for one would like to fix this and get Lyman out of that prince seat, and preferably dead. Anyone else?
Dead Lyman works for me. That's all I really need.
Big fan of dead Lyman.
Sure. You know, that can be arranged in a couple of different ways. And you see they go over to a side table and pick up what looks to be like this sort of grimoire that they flip through and say, how do you want to go about it? Like, you want to just storm the place?
I think that we need to know what he knows that we don't know that he knows. We've intercepted him a few times. I'm not gonna like sit and do all this. Can I tell D like what stuff we have figured out
Sure.
that Lyman has wronged?
Close.
We need all the other pieces in order to fix the space time according to future already past already at time loop. I don't know. It's like Arrival. He talked to us. He was old.
Right.
Oh,
Go ahead.
as Bo is talking to Dee and explaining all of these things, Sarana this whole time has been standing in the back of the room, just kind of taking all of this in. I think there's a couple times where myself and Namari just kind of look at each other like, what the
And
what the hell is happening?
Namari does indeed look absolutely bewildered.
Yeah, just taking it all in. When the four of them just openly start talking about killing their prince, Sarana's face changes a bit. And from behind the group, they just say, you really don't like that guy, do you?
Have you met him?
Actually, I have.
He's the
That's why I'm
fucking
here in the
worst.
city. Yeah,
Pretty
he
bad.
is not. He's not nice on the eyes and not nice unless he wants something from you, and he does want something from me. And I know that I promised you all some information, and that I do have.
Right.
Sarana's going to walk closer to the rest of you. And assuming there's an open chair, I'm going to sit down. And Namari stands at my right side. I had a meeting with Lyman a couple days ago. He is interested in a particular drug that I believe he wishes to use for some experiments. And I know the person who can acquire this drug for me. I texted her yesterday, but technically today, about acquiring vials of said drug. Her name is, scrolling back on her notes to find it, Tobiko?
Tokiko.
Tokiko, very close. Tokiko. Her name is Tokiko. And Serana pauses and just kind of looks around at the four of you plus the kid and just is looking to see if any of you know who Tokiko is.
Did the kid, I know that we know that the kid and Tokiko are connected. Did he mention it to us in front of us, or is that just something that I took as a note?
He called
while
her aunt.
we weren't there.
He called her Aunt Tokiko.
So we do know this.
Yeah, at least Eden and Laz do.
Okay. And does he at this point in the room with us react to the name?
He doesn't seem too terribly disturbed. I mean, he does the thing where you can tell a long time ago he tuned out most of the conversation that was happening and is just sort of scribbling in his crossword book. But at
Eden's
the
gonna
mention of
bend
his
down
aunt's
and-
name, he does look up.
Tell us about Aunt Tokiko, Artie,
Tokiko.
please.
I mean, she's a nice lady. My mom likes her. She comes by and does various. She has me do weird stuff. Like she'll put something like way high up in a tree and see if I can go grab it. And sometimes when I'm out like hunting for stuff and I get a little lost, sometimes she'll be the one that comes help me if my mom's not around, because sometimes my mom is busy. So she'll like bring me food and stuff, make sure I'm taken care of.
That's real good of her.
Is she
Yeah.
Guru?
She's nice. No, she's just like a person.
Do you know how to get to your Aunt Tokiko's house?
No, I've never been there.
Doesn't live here.
Mom says she lives way far away. Japan, I think.
That is correct. Tokiko informed me that she could get me a shipment of this drug. Although the slotted date is actually tomorrow, and I don't know how long this whole thing
We've
is
got
going
at
to-
least 2 more todays.
One more after tonight.
Unfortunately, we only have the one.
You have the rest of today and then one day after.
I thought there were 4.
3.
Oh, okay.
So ultimately, what we know is that we know a certain breadth of Lyman's plan. Now it's just how we break it.
You said Lyman got into the place of power that he is by knowing things. What if we knew things that Lyman didn't know that would help us get in his way?
I think we already do by nature of knowing that he's done what he's done. But that alone, I'm sure, won't stop him.
Is your prince aware that you four are conspiring against him?
I sure fucking hope not.
Are you going to tell him?
I don't think so. I don't like him.
Lyman is fully the worst prince I have ever had in any city I have ever lived in since my embrace. And that is saying something. Now, I've never had the need to act against him because I don't really like to get involved in all the fancy high life Elysian type affairs. But I don't think anybody needs the power that he has and is trying to grab more of.
Under their breaths, Serana murmurs clearly when you say that.
Dee said there were different methods for which we could get rid of Lyman. One was storming the place. What are our other options?
Well, I could stop time and you could raid his office, cut his head off. I could
I like that one.
I don't know. There's a lot of possibility. I would suggest me personally. I think the best bet you've got, since you've got another day to loop, is to take him out and just try and get some secrets along the way. I mean, if you just kick down the front door and raid the prince's office, there's got to be some juicy stuff in there, right?
That's a really
We
good point.
do know that
Po-
he's on to Artie. That's presumably why they sent for him. So if we
Perhaps.
take him out and act like we're trying to help him, as he did ask for our help the first time, we might be able to get the right information to get under his skin.
What time was the Elysium when we first went to it?
The Elysium,
Sick.
you got an email, you got a text message, excuse me. You got a text message at 6:15 to go to the Elysium, so it would have been at around 7:15ish.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I texted.
I have 6:24.
And I
6:24, that would have been when you all left to go to the Elysium, yes.
And then I text messaged Cameron, and so we have like a cover for why we would know what's happening,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Sarana just looks kind of at everyone and says, alternatively, perhaps I'm your way in. Prince Lyman has been practically hounding me, begging me for a second meeting. I could get him alone.
Well,
And then maybe you could stop time, D.
Could arrange a meeting in his office with you alone, stop time. We've got a good 10 minutes in cufflinks here. Plenty of time to turn the office over with all of us.
What are these cufflinks?
Oh, fancy God kid made him to make time stop. I don't know if you'll get frozen with it.
So, a question real quick. You've said something similar to that a couple of times now, fancy God kid. Who are you talking about?
Eden
You
points at
said-
Artie.
you told us that to you he's the one above all. He put us in the loop, which I guess means you also kind of put us in the loop.
You're talking about Time Educator. The Time Educator's name is Artreus. All of their names are Artreus. They're named after the one above all, not the same kid. Artreus isn't in the pattern. Artreus made the pattern.
Right. Cool. Okay.
That just seems
well,
willfully
confusing. A little bit, yeah. It's almost like a red herring type deal.
All right,
There is
whatever.
one other aspect of things. I, on our first evening of this, taunted the prince. I went and lied to him and told him that I was willing to work with him, that I had the child, and I wanted more information. He was not willing to give it, but he did request that I continue my experiments. That it was a part of his plan. So that
You
somehow
y'all
is
should
connected.
yeah, y'all should probably follow me. And D will get up and will make their way into their study.
I look at Numari and just exchange glances with her. I feel like we communicate wordlessly in this manner, and I'm just looking to get her read on the situation.
Namari looks completely out of her depth, which is a new look on her, to be sure. But she's just sort of following your lead at this point, really.
Very good. And we'll walk in.
Sitting at the opposite side of a desk that's in this room is a extremely attractive but pseudo catatonic tall woman with a big church hat and a very nice looking dress, well kept since the 50s, handmade by the best fashionistas you could find. And D will say, I'm sure you all recognize
Ophelia.
Miss Ophelia Justine, right? Yes. Calls herself the director a lot.
I'll greet her. Ophelia.
Eyes completely clouded over, totally still. And D says, so she's a little catatonic at the moment.
You let her drive.
It's the only way I could be here. I can't be in two places at once, so.
What other place
D,
should
you
you be in?
motherfucker.
Points to Ophelia.
If you thought all the pattern talk was confusing, that's going to get really complicated, though. There's a common Aquinas. You researched these things. There is a state of being, enlightenment, a lot of people call it, achieving nirvana, as it were. Belief in this world is very, very, very powerful. You asked me earlier if you all are alive, and you are in a certain way. There is a place you can be. You can interact with this world in ways that other people couldn't. I think I saw a TikTok earlier with Serana in it before I started this, but essentially, you can reach a state of understanding, a state of completion that makes you more than just a character in a story. You kind of take on your own being. That is what Lyman is trying to do. He's trying to access the pattern, the collective mortal conscious, and become, I hesitate to use the word real, but I think you know what I mean.
He's treating it like a game that you can win.
And he's trying to
You
escape.
get used to it, Jay.
He's trying to escape the story and tell his own stories. Yes.
Just go to the library and play some D&D.
So, killing him.
I think
Like you won't mind, will you, D?
Fuck Lyman Baxter. That guy's an asshole.
Thank you. I think kill Lyman Baxter. I think that we agree, Aquinas. I know, Laz, don't look at me like that.
Just saying, we've been all living together for some time. It's about time.
Is it 3 years now?
It all feels the same when you're this old.
Okay, it's not that, it hasn't been that long, but still, it's good not to hold so much distrust.
Yes.
You telling
Not so
people to
much
trust people,
distrust.
really?
I'm working on myself, okay? There's no
Laz,
consequences. Yes.
what was the warning that Ophelia had given you?
She said, tread carefully. I haven't stepped on a single crack since she's told me that. Crossed a single bridge.
All right.
I received a message earlier tonight that was quite curious as well.
What was yours?
Something about following a rabbit. Serana would know what the message was. I've forgotten.
Sure.
be
Everybody
careful
make me a
following the
willpower
white
roll.
rabbit.
Oh.
Make a what?
Willpower roll.
Okay.
So roll as many dice as you have points in willpower.
And we do a hunger dice too?
Yes.
Like as one of them? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Move all my sticky notes out of the way.
Okay, so I got 2 10s and a bestial failure.
Okay. So you get 1 point of hunger.
4 successes and a bestial success.
I have
Okay.
3 successes and a bestial failure.
Gotcha.
2 successes.
Okay.
I have 4 successes and then the bestial success on the hunger die.
Okay. I will say that you all, pardon me, you all are able to piece together what I'm about to explain, but Aquinas, I think the flavor is best if we start with you. Your brain is firing on all cylinders right now. A lot of missing pieces in your research are being slotted into place for you in various ways. And you start thinking, if this was by design, let's say, directed even in a way, Treads and the White Rabbit, you know that there is a wonderful place in Detroit that you all should go visit and tell them Dee sent you, called White Rabbit Motocross. And it is a place where you can retread your snow gear for the winter season.
Tread carefully. Follow the white rabbit. There is a location that we should go to. White Rabbit Motocross.
Lazarus, doing a quick just search through, not Google per se, you're not kind, but through your own personal technological channels, you can see that this place has always piqued you as kind of odd because of the amount of power that it draws.
Is this maybe someone's haven?
Have to be someone pretty important.
Yeah. We'll have to be extremely careful. This is a popular spot for some reason.
Well, you all have a location and goal, so I think this is a good time for us to take a quick break. Give you all some time to digest the information that's been thrown at you for the past hour, and we can come back. Everyone else, thank you for watching so much. We appreciate you so kindly. This is a joyous production. Get up, stretch, get some water, and we'll return soon. Hello, darlings, and welcome back for the second half of the 13 hours finale. Last we left off, you all were having a, let's say, very involved conversation with someone in particular, and you all were just informed of a location that you could likely find Prince Lyman Baxter as one of his many havens. What would you all like to do now?
I think it's past time we make our presence known to the prince.
So, do we want to just go straight forward for this round?
See what happens.
Are we still looking to try to search his stuff? Because I think that might be wise. We'll
think
get
we
more
could-
cufflinks tomorrow.
I think we could split up.
I don't want the kid anywhere near him.
Would you still like me to ask him for a meeting? I'm sure he will jump at the chance.
I think that's the splitting up that we'll do. I think you should talk to Baxter, and I can talk to Cameron. And Laz, quit making that face. D,
You won't be talking to Cameron.
this time
Who's
I will.
Cameron?
I didn't know that you guys knew how to talk.
I'm watching this like a
Eden
ping
does
pong
not
match.
laugh.
We're vampires. It's known that we all engage in coitus. Let's move on.
All of us? Ugh, okay.
You make me
D,
sound old.
Mm-hmm.
can the kid hang out with you? Is he safe here?
Sure, I'm great with kids.
I believe
got
you, but
4
is
younger
he
brothers.
safe here?
Yes, no one can. Yes, he's safe here.
All right.
I have a question about Ophelia. You said
Okay.
you said she is preoccupied.
Right.
Is she will she be okay after all of this is said and done?
You know, I don't think there's enough dirt in this or any other world to stop Ophelia Justine from shining.
Very good. And Sarana will look to the rest of you and just say, so the meeting? Yes.
Yeah. Who's going to
Yes.
go with you?
I hold my hand out to Namari for the phone.
And Namari, of course, produces it expeditiously. Number pre-dialed.
I will look at the group and just say, I will be outside. And I'm going to walk out of the room to call the prince.
Fantastic. Do, 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 do. 1 second, darlings. You should ask my starlight about me. Anyway, you said you're making the call to set up the meeting, yes?
Correct.
Wonderful. Lyman would answer the phone and say, Imogen, I'm assuming that this call means that you have reconsidered my offer.
Indeed, I have considered. I've reached out to a contact who has what you need, and I would like to discuss further. Your office a good place?
And there is a palpable pause. Yes, I do have some other business to attend to, but your time is of the utmost importance to me. By the time you get here, I should have things squared away. I recently had a bit of a breach in trust, let's say, with some of the kindred running around here. Big plans draws big attention, doesn't it always? You can come
breach?
to my yes, just
Am
a
I
couple
in
safe
danger?
houses. Well, Primogen, no one could put you in danger. At least no one that would be able to get yourself something you wouldn't be able to get yourself out of. It's just a matter of a couple of safe houses that were compromised. Two people that were supposed to be taken care of were not, so my head's on a swivel at the moment.
I
But
see.
none of that is of your concern.
Very good. What time should I come over?
These supplies are very important, so as soon as you are available, I've sent the
Very good.
location to the device we're speaking on.
Good. I will see you soon. And I hang up on him.
Wonderful. The location you were sent is the same motocross store that the address of which you all had received prior.
The camera sees Serana look down at the phone, look at the address, and they kind of just roll their eyes and say, "How classy." And myself and Namari will get in our car. Is anyone coming with me to this place, or are the four of you doing something else?
I feel like if you didn't tell him that you were bringing someone else, it would be awfully suspicious. But if we appear as like our own group at the same place, like incidentally, it's less weird.
Yeah.
Now
okay.
that we're all going to the same place. Yeah.
I
Sounds
think
good.
the only person who it would make sense would be with you would be Aquinas, just because of his research. But I agree with Max.
I don't think that
Mhm.
Aquinas has, in the fiction, as it were, has really explained that he has a connection to Tokiko. Don't
No,
believe
he
Aquinas
hasn't.
has said that yet.
He hasn't.
Well, either way, you all are making your way straight there. Any stops?
So I think before I leave, I will just pull, I don't know, Eden. I'll pull Eden aside and just show you the address, or just give you the address.
This is the place we were already planning on going, yeah.
Seems like it. It's where he wants me to meet him. It's going to be so dingy.
I mean, I assume that it won't be, that it's just some front. He wears a lot of white.
I can only hope.
Ew, he's not the White Rabbit, is he?
But no, that's the name of the establishment.
Right.
Yeah, but like symbolically.
He would be the type to name something after himself.
And also, the White Rabbit was
Either
late for
way.
things.
Lazarus in particular. Roll me a wits plus insight check.
The world's dumbest Nosferatu. All right, we've got two successes.
Hey.
With two successes, you know that the White Rabbit is a name that you've seen before on StreakNet. The White Rabbit was likely at one point in time Lyman's internet handle.
I've seen some weird posts under that
XX, the
handle.
white rabbit XX.
Something like that, yes.
Oh, I'm gonna pull it up. What's he posted?
Hasn't
Please tell
posted
me
in
it's weird.
years. Hasn't posted in years, but the last thing that he posted was apparently starting a rumor chain between the kind about some creature called Mothman.
Love this one.
I fucking hate this guy. All right,
Can
let's
we go to Virginia? Touch the statue? Weirdo.
Like
can we
I said, worst prince I ever had.
right. Well, are we all going there or am I going to go try to get additional information?
I think any additional information would just be redundant at this point. We know what he's trying to do. We know we need to stop him.
I think if we showed up without you, it also might be a little weird.
Right.
And I think information might be there. There might be other people there we can pump for information.
That's
It's
true
not
as
just
well.
going to be him.
Justine, Olivia, Ophelia. Wow, words.
Mhm.
Who would be in line after Lyman for Prince of Detroit?
Well, in certain circles, the second hand to the prince would be the next in line. However, you know that Lyman made a point when he became Prince of Detroit to abolish that rule, and that the seat of power would be given to a democratically elected leader.
Okay, so who do I think, based on reputation and all of that stuff, would be next in line if it's not his second in command?
I would say that you can make me a wits plus politics roll.
Okay. All right.
If Eden fails, it's going to be Aquinas.
You can also,
Motherfucker,
anyone who would like
no.
to roll can.
No, I
Wits
think
and
he's
politics,
saying
you
that
said?
like Eden's going to think it's Akunas is next in
I
line.
see. Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's
Wits and politics, yes.
I would
Okay.
like to roll just as a vibe check on this city.
I'm gonna
Sure.
roll.
okay.
4 successes.
1,
I have 2 successes.
4, 4 successes.
Right.
I got-
All right.
Wait. Wits and politics. Okay. I got 2 successes and a bestial success.
All right. I would say that you all are sort of pondering this in your minds, and just for a second, you catch the faintest glimmer of a smile on an otherwise catatonic woman.
People would let Ophelia be prince. Interesting.
She
Well,
does
I-
know stuff.
And she does such philanthropic things, such as offering help to a visiting primogen for no reason whatsoever. She curries good favor in that way. It's almost like she saw all of this coming.
Right. I mean, better Ophelia than fucking Lyman. All right.
I agree.
So, cool. I don't need to talk to Cameron then. We are good to go.
Wonderful. So you all make your way to the White Rabbit Motocross shop. And I would say that it is easy enough to discern that the primogen, excuse me, how are you all arriving? Would you like the primogen to arrive first and you all just slip in like secondarily unseen? Are you just
I feel
straight
like
up?
we should go first. Let me say this in character, actually. I think it makes sense if we show up first because it feels more like a coincidence if we go first. And then if Serrano shows up after for their scheduled appointment, then it just wouldn't be as suspicious as if Serrano arrived first and then we arrived.
D offer to freeze time.
Can't we freeze time with our cufflinks?
What do we need to freeze time for?
Search his office while he's talking with Serrano.
That's a good point.
Also, the act of instantly appearing in an office to strike is a quite lucrative tactic.
I'm sure we could come up with a good reason to be there. Security check, or oh, we missed the meeting today. We heard he would be here. What did we miss?
Or we're hunting the child.
Or we're hunting the child. That one's probably a lot better.
Well, sounds like you all have made a fairly airtight plan. So you'll requisition D to stop time for you.
Yes, I believe so.
Wonderful. And D will, without much fuss and fuss, will sort of take off the circle rimmed glasses and spin backwards along them. And you all feel everything slow around you, but you are still fluid and able to move.
Am I included in this?
Mhm.
Or am I?
If
Oh,
you would like to be. This is separate from the time stoppage that the educators are
I
capable of
see.
pulling off.
Is this time stop like cars are like in the middle of the street type of time stop? Oh, that's so cool.
But
Indeed
also,
it is.
now there's a bunch of vehicles in the way, so I'm not sure this was actually helpful.
I'm assuming we were already there when this happened.
Got it. Okay.
yeah. I think you guys arrived first, and you were gonna stop time, and then I was gonna arrive.
Yes. So we're outside when time stops.
Wonderful.
Ethan will
So,
lead the
as you
way
all
in.
arrive, you see that Lyman is pseudo uncomfortably sitting behind a desk. And when he hears the bell, he turns with this sort of half smile that immediately flips to a frown. Yes.
Well, we missed the Elysium, so we were here to check in.
How exactly did you know that I would even be here?
Contacts.
Myself and Lazarus, it's quite easy to find anyone.
Right. Very skilled. Well, the Elysium primarily was about finding and recovering a Guru child that's been lost in the city.
Excellent. Start our search here then.
Well, if he were here, he wouldn't exactly be lost to me, now would he?
Unless he was hidden.
Are you implying something,
No.
Mr. Aquinas?
Not at all. All I'm saying is children are quite adept at hiding.
They're
Hmm.
better to hide when in the place you're not being looked for.
I assure you, the child is not here. I have an appointment soon, actually. So if you all would, and it's around this time that our lovely Primogen strides in, Nimari, at your back. Primogen, you are on time. Pardon me. Just a few of my loyal denizens of the city helping me with something that I need taken care of.
I see. Well, it's nice to meet you all. Serana says, looking around at the group, and they say, do you perhaps have a more private place we can talk?
Several. I'm sure you all will find your search to be less than adequate. Please, Primogen, follow me.
Of course, Your Majesty. And I will follow him and turn back to like under the guise of like, just excusing myself from the situation. Just turn back around and look at you all, a very knowing smile on my face, and I'll turn back and follow him into wherever the heck he's bringing me, and I'll have Namari follow me.
Eden will text D and be like, "Okay, it's time to stop time now."
And that's when everything and you see very classically a clock's second hand stop ticking.
Very well. Time to search.
I'm assuming we have waited until he opened the door and we're in, right? So
yeah,
that
of course.
Yeah.
Presumably.
okay, cool. I'm gonna get up, seeing that he's frozen. Is Namari frozen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna get up and just open the door to the place that I'm in to let you guys in.
Can we move
All right.
people that are frozen?
So that is actually what I was about to comment on. The moving of the door, it does work, but it is odd. It's almost like you're moving underwater, as though you're pushing the door against time, almost the flow of time, which has been stuck still. But the door pushes open.
So, Eden, so we need to make sure that it's not clear that we've done this because we can't move Namari.
Why would you need to move, Mari?
Because if we leave this place a mess and we have to get out of here, do you want us to leave her here with Lyman?
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. So
Why don't
I was going to trash
just
the place, but I
kill
don't
him?
think that's wise.
Maybe a little more careful hand.
Why are we worried about being careful? We have a time reset. We can kill him.
Does Namari carry a stake on her?
Would you instruct Namari to carry a stake on her?
I think, yeah, I think so.
Then-
Akris also does.
She certainly does.
Then I'm just gonna like grab it off her belt. And I think, I'm gonna stake him. just as a
Wonderful.
Eden
precaution.
leans into Laz and goes, "They just got way hotter."
Yep.
So we all watch as you draw this long, angular black thornwood stake from Nimari's back pocket and stride over to Lyman and rather unceremoniously you push the piece of wood into his chest and there is a stake in his heart. You assume that the lack of reaction is due to this stoppage of time, but it's rather anticlimactic.
Is he technically like Schrodinger's like prince right now?
Right, I was gonna
Because
say,
time is stopped,
Yeah,
so
as soon
he's
as time
not alive
starts.
or dead.
Yeah, so as soon as time starts, it
Schrodinger's-
will kill him.
No, he
Don't
won't
stay- yeah.
die. He'll just be,
Be
paralyzed.
Yeah, the
Okay.
stakes don't
He
kill.
will go into
Okay, nerds.
torpor.
I can put this on him. I have the rosary. Put it around his neck. It's gonna sting.
He's gonna know that we were here at this point. So
Oh,
So
So I
Uh,
get to
that
trash the
matter, does it?
place.
Yes,
And Eden doesn't wait for an answer and she has her guitar with her and just starts smashing shit in this office.
Absolutely. And you take a deep
Well,
and
we should look
pure.
through this.
Yeah,
No, she's not
I would
breaking
like to
anything
look
that
through
you
his
guys
desk.
need to look through.
Okay.
She's breaking like
Okay.
I would like
art
to look at
and
Windows.
lamps
through his desk.
Yeah.
and
Certainly.
yeah.
And Eden, Lazarus, do you join your sister in this?
Oh, as much as fun as that looks, I think I'm going to be on the meticulous team
All
and
right.
hunt for information.
So,
Lazarus
Eden,
I do you want to take those stupid glasses that he wears?
You take them off, and you see his face has never looked more punchable. It's like frozen in the half smile of, I'm about to schmooze this person, and he's just standing there like a dickhead, and you take his glasses off. Eden, you find such a deep and pure joy in destroying all of the things around this office, especially because after you hit something, it eventually and stops again. And you're like, oh, I'll get to see it all crash down at the same time when time restarts. That will be fun.
Sexy.
And with that, I will say you restore a point of willpower because you take such deep and true pleasure doing this. You've been waiting to do these things to Lyman a very long time. The rest of you, I will not force you all to roll. There's no point. There's no one to stop you. You have all the time you could possibly need. I will go through and list off relevant information, and we will start with Lazarus and Eden Shepherd. The first things you find is that Lyman was keeping close surveillance onto both of your parents. Lyman was also sending them updates through hacked Facebook accounts of your whereabouts and what shows you were doing, just to ensure that they remained up to date on just anything that could make them dislike you more. In accordance with that, he also had your tour bus wiretapped. And he had made contact with Xander, but the note in the file just says that he was told to promptly fuck off.
Good boy.
And then Bo, you realize that Lyman was constructing a file on you, places you had been. He was interested in contacting everyone essentially who had seen you in an effort to try and dig out some secrets of some kind.
Does he know who my sire is?
No. That is one of the things he was trying to find out, but he did not figure it out. He didn't roll well enough. And several of the people down at your place of work are ghouls that were planted by Lyman.
Wait, like my coworkers or my students?
Your students.
No.
Are you
so
like
upset? Bo looks like really upset.
University professor? Or
are you asking in character or out of
no,
character?
out of character.
He has like 2 jobs, but he teaches like night school for adults getting their GEDs,
Gotcha.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
I see.
Not every student, but a good 3 or 4 of them. Mostly the ones who really tried to kiss up to teacher and get into your good graces. Those were the goals. You also, as that piece of information comes to light, you all also learn that Lyman's whole "I don't have ghouls" thing is a complete mockery, a total lie, and a charade. The only person who knew of his ghouls was himself and a man named Jackson King. But outside of those two, no one was aware that he actually had ghouls, so that they could do his bidding in secrecy. Aquinas,
Aha.
relevant information to you. You find that Lyman had been using your feeding grounds as a disposal place for kine for quite some time. He would, if a kine saw something they weren't supposed to, if they went to a place they weren't supposed to go, etc., etc., he would send them where he knew you would try and grab them and just let you take care of it and sort of wash his hands of the whole thing. In addition, he attempted several times to get in contact with Tokiko, but she refused to answer any of his messaging. He also very clearly did not understand what your research was all about. There are a couple of notes that you look at almost like a teacher would look at a fifth grade student's understanding of physics. It's like, oh, buddy, like you're not even close. Like this is, and Serana, there is not much here that would interest you specifically. There's not much here that is related to you. Most of it seems to be the beginning of a file that was being compiled with a essentially it was just like possible way that I can get Excelavir. That's basically the gist of his notes on you. However, you do learn interesting things about several other princes. Because Lyman, being a prince himself, was invited to High Elysium, which is a Elysium that is called by the rulers of the entire continent for all the princes of the various sectors to come and receive orders. So you gain a whole host of information about princes and behavioral patterns and even connections that you didn't know, like, oh, this person supplies these people with this. I did not know that. A lot of weaponizable information, especially in the hands of a primogen of the clan of kings.
Excellent.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I will open up the board for basically y'all can ask me questions and I will answer them with what Lyman knows. So rather than me going through and explaining the 4 pages of things that are on this man's sheet, y'all can just ask me anything that you're curious about, and based off of Lyman's information, I'll tell you.
What does he know about Artreus, and why did he choose to spare him but kill the parents?
The parents would have consistently been in the way because they love their child or something weird like that. He picked Artreus specifically because the one above all started as a half kindred, half Guru child. And from Lyman's understanding, the reason the child you all found is named Artreus is because of those prophecies and those legends that are very strongly held in Guru culture. Guru culture is very oral, traditional. They remember the old gods a lot better than most kindred do. So he was likely named Artreus because someone with the site saw that he would be an important person, so they named him Artreus, an important person from history, etc., etc.
Okay. What's he got on my soul girlfriend?
You know that Kirla Edwards, her file says different from what I remember before. No child this time, or at least not the one that became one of the old gods. Very interesting. Keep an eye out. Doesn't seem to know much.
What does he have
That
on his
makes
second in
2 of
command?
us.
On Cameron, he has a fairly extensive file. Um, from what you understand from his notes, she was in position to become the prince, and Lyman fucked her over and essentially just like did a little switcheroo with some of his predated knowledge. Notes include things like she was a lot more serious last time I saw her. At least she kept her eye this time. I'm doing her a favor, really.
I'm curious to know what exactly he plans to use the drugs for.
Ah, so the Excelavir is a part of his research notes that would have drawn Aquinas's interest. He essentially would have attempted to connect to the global unconscious, which is what Excelavir does. You know that from the explanation that you got. It connects you to all the other kindred. You can do the discipline stuff. He was going to use that connection. He thinks like a hacker, right?
Yeah.
He's like, so long as I get a line in, then I'm there and I can do whatever I want after I get there. The hard part is getting the connection.
Gotcha.
So his plan was to use the drug to connect him, and then he was going to, from there, try and like
surf
the
internet.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, Nick and Charlotte, like, what did he?
So Nick and Charlotte, they, from what you can tell, they were used as I've described. To you specifically, Sirana, they were used as a part of his plan. They were meant to kill the Guru woman to ensure that Artreus was set free into Detroit. He told them where they were going to be. Nick got the drop on them, and he is very strong and managed to kill both of them. And outside of that, when he had
double crossed them, didn't he?
Basically, yes. But he also, it would also say in the notes that he had a mage of his, not D, he had a mage place a curse on them to not speak of his plan or they would die. You will put together, without needing to roll, that the reason Charlotte suddenly could share the information is because the curse had already taken effect in the previous timeline. So when it was reset, the curse didn't stick because that's not how magic works. Magic is outside of the confines of time. Even if you rewind time, if you had a magic thing that would trigger, it still triggers despite time being rewound. So the curse didn't persist because it considered itself already concluded.
I see. Interesting.
Indeed.
Based on like, because I'm just rummaging through his desk, I'm interested in also knowing like any sort of like personal issues that he has with anyone else here.
Sure. He has no one else here in particular. He does have a list of people in particular that he is keeping tabs on just to make their lives difficult. You would assume out of pettiness. One of the names on there is Oswin de Vossier, who none of you know. You can make me a let's call it wits plus etiquette roll. And just hold on to that. Any successes you get, just hold on to that number.
Okay.
Also on the list is Jackson King. Jackson King is circled and underlined 3 times. He fucking hates Jackson King. Nymeria Page, who is a woman you all met at Elysium. She is a Tremere vampire. And someone named Damien. And those names are on a list, and they have like various X's, and they're like circled like it's a burn book or something.
I'm in shock because I just rolled all successes.
God bless.
Does he have anything on Delilah? Or is she good?
Nothing on Delilah.
What about our roadie? I think
On
it's
your
Adam.
roadie, no.
Fantastic.
He was more concerned with you two and Xander because he doesn't know where Xander was from. He's like, this is not a kind person. So he sort of took interest in Xander specifically, but the rest of them he didn't care.
Cool.
What
So
about
yeah, go ahead.
Ophelia?
So before we get to Ophelia, the etiquette roll successes. That was 6 for Serrano.
5.
Five.
And one of them is a 10, but it's not the hunger die.
Gotcha. It was wits plus etiquette. So with that having been said, you would know that Oswin Devassier is a caitiff man. He is a vampire with no explicit connection to any clan in particular. And he practices a long lost discipline that the kindred used to master way back in the older days called Bardoism. And the key philosophy behind Bardoism is that vampirism is an affliction, and it is one that you can be healed from given enough rigorous training and meditation. The most extreme cases and masters of Bardoism have been rumored to restore humanity to a kindred, even after their death.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ophelia. Ophelia, from what he can tell, says his notes say, seems like she remembers, but also doesn't remember somehow. Confusing. But then again, she was confusing beforehand. Disregard unless she becomes important.
I think there's plenty here. It's been keeping close tabs on so many people.
I think after smashing all this stuff up, Eden finally walks in. So, what'd we learn? And
Information dump.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Y'all exchange information easily enough.
That motherfucker. Well, we can expose him.
I think it's about time somebody did that.
I thought we were here to kill him.
We're going to kill him tonight, but we still have tomorrow. Or tonight.
There's
again.
more than one way to skin a cat, Doctor.
Killing him ain't enough. Everybody
like the
needs to
doctor has a
know
very
what he
good
did to all of us.
If I
The
understand
doctor.
correctly, tomorrow is the real today.
Yes, I
Right.
believe so.
So I would advise you to tread carefully. I am not fully aware of all of the politics of Detroit, given that I don't live here, but as you all know, it's messy.
Correct. And tomorrow you're not going to remember us. So, what do we need to know to convince you to trust us?
There's a chance I will remember. I did remember this morning, after
It's
all.
a precaution.
Perhaps your daughter's name?
My child, the one who's a fan of you. I'm scrolling to find her name. Sarana pauses and says, her name is Samira Alamati.
Great. Does she have a nickname that maybe only you would call her?
No. I retain formality between myself and my childer. However, you can tell Sarana is genuinely trying to think of something that I am willing to give up, but also would be specific enough that would convince me to trust you all.
Do you have any like pieces of media, like a favorite book from when you were a child or something like that, like a real deep cut?
Or maybe you could share, if you were comfortable. You can't have used Sarana Kwan your whole life. Is there a name that you've used as you moved through the world and through time that you would feel comfortable sharing with us?
You watch as Sarana considers like the options in front of them, and they say, my old name, I will never see the light of day, nor will I guess, but the name Li Guishen is important to me. A name that has been lost for some decades or so. I think that combined with my childer will be enough, perhaps, if I don't remember.
Great. Laz, if they say their phone number enough times, do you think you can memorize it?
I can do that once.
Sarana begrudgingly states their phone number and then looks at you like, did you get it? Are you going to remember?
665-154-9267.
6-8, but yes. Very
Very
good.
All right. With all that having been said, and for the sake of time, funnily enough, Sirana, roll me a willpower check to see if you can maintain your memories.
Oh no. All right. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 2 successes and no, 3 successes.
3 successes is indeed enough. So,
how funny would it be if I pretended
just
to forget?
Pretend to not remember. Yeah, it'd be pretty funny.
Move.
We are then going to slide straight on into that scene at Elysium. Everyone is gathered, and as is, would you all like to spread this information after or before Lyman gets there?
I think
I was. Oh,
I
Well-
think Eden would first talk with everybody else about whether or not like we should warn Cameron, because I feel like the fallout is going to be the worst for her and for Ophelia, and I feel like Ophelia probably already fucking figures shit out. So, yeah.
She's still here. Or is Ophelia still here? Or do we have D now?
Well, time's resetting.
Oh, yeah.
So Ophelia will be there.
I feel like warning Cameron that you're going to drop a bomb might be a decent idea.
decent idea.
So I guess as early as we can in the morning, we should grab Nick and Charlotte, and then if we have time, maybe we should take them to the Elysium.
I agree.
If that's possible, because they will also be able to be significant witness to Lyman's
I'm gonna
fuckery.
call Cameron and tell her that she needs to stall the Elysium as long as possible because we have something particularly juicy to share with her.
Oh, tell her to like slash one of Lyman's tires or something.
However she needs to do it.
It'll make them late.
Well, she didn't
I
work
wanna
with
just-
him.
I just want to
Dude.
state for the canon that when you when you find Serana, I think they do just pretend they pretend for like 2 seconds. They're like, "Who are you?" And then you begin to start dumping this, and then they just smirk and say, "Oh." I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I think were you all going to grab Nick and Charlotte, or does Serana still need to go save him?
We could
or
have
save
we
them,
could have
sorry.
Serana do it.
I think we need to divide and conquer because we need to get Nick and Charlotte, and we need to get the kid.
Yeah, so I think we have Serana get Nick and Charlotte. The rest of us will get the kid. And
And once Lyman leaves for Elysium, if we can like throw a brick in his office window to get his shit, I don't think he's gonna make it through today anyway. For there to be consequences. So
Sure. So you all.
Wait, sorry,
Uh-huh.
one last thing.
Yeah.
I think also during our like planning esque thing, Serana suggests because I'm gonna be showing up to Elysium with Nick and Charlotte, that I had the idea of like posing as like I want like once Lyman gets there, like before he gets on the stage, just saying like, oh, like I'd love to be like introduced or whatever. And so like if I were to like get up to the microphone, then in like inviting the four of you to the stage, and then you guys can do your thing.
perfect. And we can bring Nick and Charlotte in at that point.
Yeah, like I'll hand them off to you backstage, and then
Perfect. All right, let's do this.
yeah, plan. Let's
All
go.
right.
Break.
So you all procure the information, Nick, Charlotte, and Trace, and the visiting guest, Primogen, Sirana Kwan, has taken the microphone at the Elysium called in the Detroit Theater. Floor is yours.
Serana does that really annoying thing where they tap the microphone to make sure it's on. Old habits die hard. And Serana says, greetings, kindred of Detroit. Thank you for having me here. My name is Primogen Serana Kwan from San Francisco. I would like to extend my thanks to Prince Lyman Baxter for having me here. And I would also like to inform the prince that I have some excellent news that you might find the most interesting, and I'm gonna beckon to you for.
I think Bo on his way up is going to start passing out pamphlets of different like people in the crowd that Lyman had files on that I took. Like, oh look, here's what he had on you.
Yeah.
Oh look, here's what he had on you.
Awkwardness will probably take that and start handing it out to the entire theater because he doesn't really want to be on the stage.
I think Eden
Cool.
and Xander, actually, you start hearing music.
All right. This is all very cute. What are we doing here?
Your Majesty, just be patient. And I'm gonna like put a hand on him just to like reassure him a little.
He is waiting.
Laz, do you think we play flip the tables?
Oh, let's play flip the
We
table.
play flip the tables. So Laz, Eden, and Xander are playing flip the tables as these pamphlets are being passed out.
Wonderful kindred of Detroit. We have some unsavory news for you. We so happen to uncover this, that, and the other thing. You'll notice in many of the manila folders you've been handed that there is now I of course did not invade your privacy as such. Likely some information about you that you didn't want anybody probably knowing. Especially the prince right here. It seems that upon many other things that I will allow my compatriots to help me explain, he has been spying on a great deal of us, including myself. And he holds up like the folder, like with his information, and lets it like dump down onto the floor.
Yes.
Now,
Go ahead.
Now where I'm from, people did shit like this. We shot him out at high noon, and I didn't miss. But I didn't think that was quite good enough. Not enough flair these days.
And you all see that Lyman looks furious. And he says, "So you've broken into the haven of your prince. Such unruly subjects. Cameron, if you could apprehend these ne'er-do-wells." And Cameron is just looking over at you, Eden, and sort of looks over a glass of type O that she's drinking and says, "I'm sorry, my prince, I can't quite hear you over the music." And Lyman sort of turns and unbuckles his cape that falls to the floor in a heap and says, "Surely these unsubstantiated claims will not stand in my Elysium."
I think he shouts
well,
out Nick
firstly-
and Charlotte to come onto the stage.
In admitting that we broke into your haven, you've essentially claimed guilt to having formed all these files, as opposed to saying we got them from somewhere else. But do go on.
Serana, like still standing next to him, because I would like to try and use one of my disciplines on him.
Mhm.
I would like to catch his gaze, and as I look into his eyes, my eyes, which are normally a dark brown,
Mhm.
start to glow yellow, and I just stare into his soul, and I tell him, "Lyman Baxter, sit down."
And what discipline are you using?
Compel,
All right. Let's see.
because I actually don't know what mesmerize does, but I don't think it does what I want it to do.
Compel would be more along the lines of what you're looking for here with a command.
Cool.
Okay, so he does succeed, and he goes and says, "Don't touch me." And as he like sort of like raises a hand to take yours off of his, it's grabbed in the giant mitt of the angler, Nick Offerman, who says, "Now you see your princeship. I actually think the Primogen has a really swell idea there. How about you take a seat? And he pushes him back down into the chair and holds him to the chair.
At that point, Aquinas will also just kind of glide to stand behind the prince, and in a hand held behind his back, just a needle filled halfway with holy water, just waiting.
Aquinas, you're a rational man. You know that I am a fully recognized prince.
You
I
should
can get
stop
you.
right there. I think everyone in this room knows I am not a rational man.
You won't get away with this. You fools, you don't know what I've survived. You think a couple of kids could kill me now?
Aquinas looks to Eden.
Yes.
Can I have this one?
Fine.
You won't be dying anytime soon, Prince.
And
What do you
we're
mean?
not done yet. Charlotte and Nick, if you would like to speak on your experiences with our Prince of Detroit, or perhaps we should talk about the child, or perhaps about
And
your mage friend.
Charlotte will relay all of their information. And to be clear, as Kindred Society is a very treacherous, betrayal-filled place, no one is like, like a completely like aghast at these secrets, but they are very thoroughly thumbing through the files, as kindred on kindred violence is frowned upon, which is why it's generally done in a way that leaves no trail. But with proof, he could easily be strung up by the High Elysium with all of these transgressions he's committed, essentially.
I'm happy to start organizing things, files into the most egregious now that everyone's seen them, so we can start that process if we wanted to.
And
I
go ahead.
would now like to, in honor of our prince's idea to keep things democratic in Detroit, I would like to hold a vote if no kindred in attendance have in opposition to the thought. I will wait for anyone. All in favor of taking Lyman out of the prince's seat in Detroit?
That is an easy, pretty much everyone in the Elysium, and even the people who you can see didn't plan on raising their hands, raises their hands when they see they're viciously outnumbered.
All right. New
Serana
elections.
also raises their hand.
New elections next Friday at sundown. Be here, be square.
And it's at this point that Lyman is picked up by Nick, who holds him in both hands to not let the slippery bastard escape. And he says, "You cannot do this to me. I am the prince."
Not anymore.
And it is then that, entering stage right, you see Ophelia Justine say, "Oh, Lyman, dear, you're not the Prince of Detroit anymore. As these lovely people have kindly reminded you, please do enjoy your death, and this time, stay gone, you impetuous little worm."
I think Eden's going to go over and take Ophelia's hand, kiss it, and then walk off the stage. Director.
And with that, there is still much to find out. The tale of who will become the next Prince of Detroit, the power vacuum that it will inquire. What exactly will the orphaned Artreus now do with the rest of his days, and how our kindred here will advance their personal machinations. But those are all things for a different story. As we all know now that we are crossing into our 14th hour, and thusly our story has concluded. Thank you all so much for joining us for the wonderful finale of 13 Hours of Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, created by myself. Thank you all so much to my lovely players for joining and dealing with my absolute nonsense. This is probably the most meta game that I have ever actually put to the screen.
Yeah,
but I want you all to know this is how my brain writes things. I've got to live with this bitch all day, so it's exhausting. Pray for my girlfriend. With that having been said, we can do a round of outros. Let us know who you are, where we can find you, and give us your favorite moment from our 3-act game. We can start in reverse order with our resident arcane goth, Max.
Yeah, I'm Max, or Arcane Goth. That's where you can find me, anywhere that I want you to find me on the internet. I will be in real life at Collecticon Denver the weekend of October 15th, like those days. And then I will be at PAX Unplugged in the beginning of December. On the Twitch, you can find me here again next month, shocking literally no one at all, as well as other places that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. And one of those places, I'll be with Dare again. And if you saw my last show with Dare, know that we always do stuff. I think my favorite moment, at least from this episode, is somehow finding a way to make a D12 reference in a Detroit campaign. That really made me so happy. And I still also love Laz's moment from the last episode in taking on their parents. That one hit different. Someone else go.
Fantastic. Yeah, so we are going to slide right along to the lovely, not Dr. Aquinas. Cameron, how are you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name's Cameron. You can find me on Twitter at worldsmith_cam, where I talk about lots of shit, writing, game design, stories, and politics. There's a possibility I might be going to PAX Unplugged with some pending panels, so maybe you'll get to see me there, but otherwise just come hang out with me. And I've been Aquinas. I think my favorite moment, oh god, I enjoy just being this weird, creepy, duplicitous motherfucker, and doing so many things behind the scenes of just lying to the rest of the group, taking documents when no one else knew about it or anything like that. It's just been a blast, a lot of fun.
Really, really great. All right. And next up, we have our late addition to the cast. You've upgraded from guest member. You got it's no longer says guest starring in the intro. Now, when you like turn around and finger guns to the camera, it says and also. Bringing us the lovely Sarana Kwan. Jay, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. This has been officially my first game of Vampire the Masquerade, something that I have been hyperfixating on for the past month. While I am here and have the mic, I would like to wish you all a happy BIPOC Vamp Day weekend. If you don't know what that is, it is an event created by at Black Betty Cosplay or Jamila. It is an event that is taking place today, tomorrow, and Sunday. We are raising money for sickle cell disease. If you Google BIPOC Vamp Day, it should come up, but there's a raffle for prizes if you donate. There's also going to be a charity zine that I am the creative director for, with lots of BIPOC vampire content, comics and writing and art. We are still working on that, and I believe that is a charity zine that is going to be going up to Kickstarter or some other crowdfunding platform at some point in the future. But keep an eye on that. And this event is running this whole weekend. I'm going to be on a one shot of Vampire the Masquerade on Sunday over on Utopia. And yeah, we'll just be raising money all weekend. So if you have some extra money lying around, would love to help this incredible cause and support BIPOC creators in the community. I would really, really appreciate it. So thank you for that. As far as myself, my name is Nala or Jay. I use they, them. I am on Twitter at NalaWoo and at NalaDraws. If you'd like to see my art, I am a professional illustrator and art director working full-time here in tabletop games. Besides art, I do voice acting, sensitivity reading, cultural consulting, TTRPG content creation, and actual play stream performance. As the lovely two previous people have mentioned, I will also be attending PAX Unplugged. I submitted some panels. I don't know. We're not going to find out if they're accepted or not. But regardless, I will be going. The company that I'm art directing for is also going, so it's very exciting because I get to go on behalf of a company. So I feel so official. And then the only other thing I want to plug is that besides BIPOC Vamp Day and the one shot, which is called Skeleton Key. That's the name of the game, so I'm very excited for that. But tomorrow night, I will be on the finale of Waterdeep Anatomy, which is a D&D 5e medical drama. We are just trying to solve this medical mystery, and it's very fun, and I play a very hot doctor. So you should come watch me on that show. But I just want to thank you all for having me on this cast, for welcoming me in. My favorite moment was I think for me personally, my character, I liked seeing and having Serana take the initiative to just stake him. That was fun. That was badass, and that encapsulates, I think, kind of the character that I wanted to play for this game. And my other favorite moment was watching you four get your revenge at Elysium. That was very rewarding, and both myself and I think Serana are glad and happy to have helped facilitate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah. And then we will slide over to the first of the Shepherd sisters, Laz, aka Christina.
Hello. Thank you so much for running this. I love playing I love vampires. I am obsessed.
Me too.
So excited to be playing vampire again and playing with D. My name is Christina. I use any pronouns. You can find me over on Twitter at D20xtina. I definitely go check out BIPOC Vamps, boost people, see what folks are doing. It's going to be a really awesome weekend. And I would also encourage you to slide over to Latinos in Gaming and check out some information about how to help folks out in Puerto Rico, because that's something that's happening. So go check that out. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And then next up, hello, my lovely creatures of the dark. My name is D. I am a voice actor, streamer, musician, cosmic demon here to enrich your dreams, stir your soul, and steal your pronouns. If you stand too close of me, I do bite. Yeah, I wrote this thing because it was wild nonsense, and I really wanted to explore the concept of a world in which kindred could do things without worrying about the social ramifications of them. Just to see, I thought it was a fun exploration of personal horror in that way. And then also it sort of dovetailed into a talk about the human consciousness and what does it mean for these characters when we stop playing them? Do they continue to exist? They kind of do, especially if you run games how I do. So it's a little weird kind of gray line, and that's what we got into here. But yes, I cause trouble on the internet. Follow me on Twitter at It's DeRiddler. I cause problems everywhere I go. It's very fun. And I just retweet thirst traps shamelessly because people are hot and everyone should know about it. Yeah, that's me. And I'm going to throw it over to Eden, aka Nikki.
Hello. I'm Nikki. I'm the producer here at TEATRPG, and I'm really excited about. We have this weekend our talk show on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, so definitely tune in for that. Should be a really great episode. I actually don't know who's going to be on it because I'm not sure if both the guests are available anymore, so we will see. And then, as Max said, we will have a fantastic Monster Heart stream coming up. We also have some other things in the works that we aren't going to announce yet that will probably come out in November, but that we are recording in October. Other than this, I don't really have anything going on. Actually, I do have something coming up in October. So keep an eye out because I have decided to make it everyone's problem how hot I am. And so I will be showing up as a specific deadly sin in October. So keep an eye out for that. And we will see you on the internet.